Very good evening, friends. Meeting again after a long time with Robert's philosophy. We have finished one more important chapter from Robert's philosophy, the psychosis, and details about the psychotic manifestations at all level, right from the mind to the generalities, skin, everything which we have discussed in detail in last 5 lectures. Today we're going to start with one more new chapter related with the same miasm, that is the psychotic miasm. And this chapter, the chapter number 30, Sycosis, Over-Construction, here he again gives one more postulate. Earlier also he has discussed, when he has discussed the Sora or deficiency, that was the first postulate. Then second postulate which we have learned, in syphilitic miasm, higher the atomic weight, more syphilitic is the remedy. That is the second postulate which he has explained in relation with the periodic table. And now again in relation with periodic table, he will going to discuss about one postulate related with the psychotic miasm regarding the over-construction and why it gets over-constructed. So we'll start with the chapter number 30 from H.A.Robert, Sycosis, Over-Construction. When we come to analyze the psychotic miasm in relation to the table of elements and their respective atomic weights, we find an entirely new grouping of the symptoms. We have stated in the summary of miasmatic symptomatology that the soric manifests most strongly the functional symptoms. So first important thing, Sora functional manifestation. Keep it in your mind. These are very, very, very important points. Sora functional manifestation. The syphilitic has its hallmark ulceration and the destruction of tissue, even to the bony tissue. So syphilis, ulceration, destruction, and destruction of bony tissue. And while the psychotic has an opposite manifestation, infiltration and overgrowth of the tissue. So three basic miasmatic hallmarks. Sora, it is functional disorder. Number two, syphilis, ulceration, destruction of bones. Sycosis, infiltration and overgrowth. So this is what we generally know about the miasms. Therefore, we see that psychotic stigma presents a problem in physical construction that is exact opposite to the soric. Therefore, we see that psychotic stigma represent a problem in physical construction that is exact opposite to the soric, granting that our theory has been so far sound. Thus, while the soric patient is unable to assimilate sufficient elements from sunlight, air, water, food, etc., for a well-rounded physical structure in which to house a normal healthy mind and spirit, we find that psychotic patient is too susceptible to available constructive elements. He seizes upon and assimilates to the point of overgrowth of the tissue. So he explained over there in Sora, whether it is Sora or whether it is the deficiency of constructive elements. That was his postulate while discussing the Sora. Here, exactly the opposite symptomatology is there in the psychotic miasm. At all level, all modalities, you're going to find exact opposite to the Sora. And in this, while discussing this specific chapter, he tries to explain that in this disorder or in this psychotic disorder, the element which takes part in the construction, which gets over absorbed, producing more infiltration, more overgrowth, and that is the third important entity, third important postulate which he tried to explain in relation with the periodic table. See, this is what is called as a study. This is Robert, where Robert is absolutely different than the rest of the philosophers. Here he comes out with his own thoughts. It is unique. This he shows his own study about the homeopathic materia medica, about the physiology, about the periodic table, and correlation between all these three things, where Robert explains his own thoughts. And that's why he has his own unique identity in the philosophy. See what he says further. If this is so, it explains the reason for pathology in all parts of the body that manifests overgrowth of natural tissue. And we have already noted that where we find malignancies with the overgrowth of the tissues and infiltrations, we are almost always able to trace to the psychotic attitude. So here he explains that this is overgrowth. It is infiltration. It is change in structure of the cell tissues. And these cell changes or these tissue changes are up to the level of overgrowth, infiltration, deposition, tumor formation, cyst formation. These are pathologies which are related with the psychotic mind. So here in Sora there was a deficiency. In psychosis there is a over absorption, but both are assimilations. And this is what he is explaining over there. Consider the necessary elements for physical construction and lavish manner in which they are supplied by nature in fresh air, sunshine, fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, even in fresh seafood and animal tissue, which we adapt for food. So see, we get our energy from these natural sources. One of them is food. This food is we get in the form of fresh fruits. We get it in the form of vegetables. We get it in the forms of nuts. Even the sun is very important because that sunshine is necessary in order to develop our cells. And last, the most important is air. Seafood, animal tissues, which we adapt for food. These are the two more ingredients which are necessary in the formation or in the construction. In the case of manganese, for instance, Macallon tells us but a small amount is required in our daily food, but that it is very difficult to prepare a diet entirely free from element for experimental purposes. So what he said, it is very difficult to prepare manganese-free diet for experiment. It is required very small quantity for the body, but still it is required. If it is there, if deficiency is there, what happens that we have learned while learning the Sora or deficiency, there he explains that mm, if deficiency is there, the mother's love is lacking over there. There are problems in the sexual part of the human being, and those create the problems. Impotence is one more problem, one more thing which is there. So even it is required in very, very, very minute quantity, but it is required. And our diet contains manganese. It is very difficult to remove manganese from the diet. If it is so difficult to prepare food and omit the small amount required, that what an excess of the substance must be available in normal diet. Whatever we used to use, it is in ample quantity. It depends upon many things. We take a lot of food. How much is absorbed? Absorption is whatever is necessary that has been absorbed. But if this process of finding it out necessary amount is disturbed, to which we called by name of assimilation, then either there will be deficiency or either there will be more absorption. If it is deficiency, it is soric. If it is more absorption, it is related with psychosis. 8. The healthy normal system absorbs only the amount required to maintain a state of health. So if everyone is in state of health, whatever is necessary, that has been only absorbed. The whole thing now cannot get absorbed. And that's why there is one more system which is working in the GI tract, is the excretory system. Whatever is required is taken inside, whatever is not required is thrown away. This is simple technique. And this works properly. If it works properly, you remain healthy. If it gets disturbed, as there is a disturbance in assimilation, you'll either get a deficiency or either get overgrowth. So see this first introductory part, here he tries to impose on your mind that what happens exactly in psychosis. So he says, again, he takes the help of periodic table. A list of antipsychotic remedies has been compiled from several standard works on Madra Medica. The way he has prepared the list of antisoric remedies, here he prepares the list of antipsychotic remedies. We shall give a list excerpted from this and comprising only those remedies with a primary chemical relationship. It will be noted that almost all remedies fall within the group of the body construction elements, but it is significant that the so-called double salts predominate. So he takes into consideration the list of antipsychotic remedies and which is prepared from many sources, and in which he has given importance to the chemical elements only. And when he looked towards them, many of the elements are double salts. What do you mean by double salt? It is not single, it is ammonium muriaticum. There is ammonium as well as chlorine. There is fluoric acid. Then there is heparsulfuricum. So there are two elements which are taking part over there many times. Nitric acid, aurum muriaticum, baryta muriaticum. There are many more, they are double salts. Another interesting fact is that the carbons are almost entirely lacking, while the calcarea appears infrequently. In this list of antipsychotic remedies, carbons are lacking over there, which are strongly present in soric remedies, antisoric. See, this is what is understanding about the periodic table and its correlation with homeopathy. Here, Robert gives the scientific aspect of understanding the periodic elements from periodic table in relation with homeopathy. And he says that carbons are lacking in antisyphilitic list. They are much more in antisoric list. This is what is understanding. Then what he says, calcarea appears infrequently. Very occasionally you get a calcarea over there. One of the calcarea phos is there in this list. Otherwise, all elements are there in antisoric list. Chemical combinations of very few elements are found to be fairly frequent as fluoric acid. See the list underline given over there in the lower part of the page. Fluoric acid. There are two elements. First, atomic weight 1, fluorine, and 9, it is the acid group. Nitric acid. See, it is given there one as a acid, then 7, 8 is the nitrate. Then ammonium muriaticum, that is also there, 1, 7, 17. So these are all important things which you are going to get over there. It is interesting to note that while there is a preponderance of the Kalis, Kali Kaf is omitted. What he says? There are many Kalis, but Kali Kaf is omitted. But actually, Kali Kaf is a very important remedy over there in antipsychotic list. Here, the carbon, which is not carbon, shows the soric element, but Kali is specifically more psychotic. It will be noted too that while auramur, baratamur, cinnabaris, mercury, plumbum appears in this list, the first three tinctured with elements of much lower atomic weight, while the two last comparatively rarely indicated in psychotic conditions unless there is a syphilitic taint as well. So first two is aurum muriaticum and baryta muriaticum having very comparatively first three are tinctured with elements of a much lower atomic weight. If you want to prepare their tincture, you have to prepare them with element with very low molecular weight. And last two are the comparatively rarely indicated in true psychotic condition unless there is syphilitic taint. So when you see the mercury or plumbum, they are not the part of soric remedy, so psychotic remedy. They are the part of syphilitic remedy. Although, of the course, these might be indicated when conditions approaches disintegration of tissue as towards the final chapter of the disease. Let us examine these remedies, comparing their relationship by number of elements. So what he says is very important. He explains over there, just go through that list. List is very important. Just a minute. So see the list over there. The first alumina, ammonium muriaticum, antimony, argentum only, arsenicum, aurum muriaticum, baryta muriaticum, borax, bismuth, bromium, calcarea phos, cinnabaris, chlorine, ferrum iodatum, ferrum phosphoricum, fluoric acid, graphitis, heparsulfuricum, calibichromicum, kali iodide, kali muriaticum, kali sulfuricum, lithium, mercury, mercor, merc iodatum rubrum, merc sol, natrum muriaticum, natrum sulfuricum, nitric acid, phosphorus, plumbum, silicia, and sulfur. So it is the list which has been prepared from many sources, out of which the plumbum and the mercury having a molecular weight or atomic weight more than 70. It is going much high. Mercury is 80, plumbum is 82. And these are the remedies which are not purely psychotic. They are more commonly a syphilitic remedy. We call mercury as the antisyphilitic remedy. The plumbum, again the paralytic remedy or producing lot of paralytic changes, destruction, is syphilitic remedy. So their atomic weight, higher the atomic weight, more syphilitic the remedy. That's what we have learned earlier. But here, he explains over there that this is the list which he got, out of which few of the remedies which he has omitted, they are not syphilitic. Rest of the remedies, you will going to find it out double salts more commonly. Heparsulfuricum, double salt, fluoric acid, double salt, calibichromicum, kali iodatum, kali muriaticum, kali sulfuricum, natrum muriaticum, natrum sulfuricum, nitric acid. See, many more are double salts over there. See how he has studied towards them. What is the relation of these double salts and how it reflects in over-construction? That study he has explained in this specific chapter. So first introductory part about it, which we have finished in today's session. Tomorrow we're going to learn the remaining part where how it goes on producing overgrowth over there. That correlation Robert has tried to show in this chapter. So we have learned certain aspects. We have learned the antipsychotic remedies, list of antipsychotic remedies, and postulate that there are many more elements which are from the constructive elements, but they are double salts, which are the part and parcel of human construction and how they are responsible to produce overgrowth. That part we're going to learn in tomorrow's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.